Absolutely great to be here. I appreciate the time, and hello to all good morning to our friends on the West in the West, and good afternoon to all of you in Eastern Canada, Central University in Toronto. I hope all is well. It occurred to me when I was listening earlier today, Joe Bellick mentioned that he was taking a 1-hour presentation and trying to package that into 30 minutes. Well, I'm going to try and take 20 years of experience in retirement and succession planning and package that into the next 25 or 30 minutes. So the question is business continuity and succession planning. I like to refer to that as business continuity, retirement, and succession planning. Are you ready? Do you have yourself in a place you're ready? I want to preface the conversation by stating first and foremost, all of you on this call, or the vast majority of you for sure, do financial planning for your clients. That's what we do. You spend a lifetime gaining experience, becoming educated, becoming very good at this professional trade. But the one thing that you probably haven't spent very much time on is building a business plan for your own business, for your planning business. We all tend to leave that last. Are you ready? So let's get started. So for 20 years, over 20 years now, I've helped advisors maximize the value of their business and prepare for eventual retirement. That's what I do every day. Through that time, we've acquired life and investment business from coast to coast. Let me just back up for a moment and say, what I want to do today is share with you as much as I can and give you a template for planning your own succession planning your own plan for your business. So over those 20 years, we've acquired life and investment business from coast to coast, everything you can imagine. And as a result of those 20 years experience, we've developed a very thorough understanding of the valuation and succession planning process. We've created a creative and innovative approach to successfully putting deals together. And I will say that there's no two deals that are exactly alike. There's such a variation in what everyone wants, expects, and so on and so forth. So we've become innovative in terms of how we put deals together and satisfy an advisor's ultimate objective, fulfilling their plan. We systemize the transition process, very important. There's lots of moving pieces when you think about moving a business, whether you're selling a portion of your business and a few assets or a few clients to the whole block transfer. There's a lot involved behind the scenes to make that all happen. And we've systemized that in succession. So I made a personal goal. I used to call it a goal, but I've changed that language to decision. I made a decision. A decision is much more concrete. I made a decision to become a recognized expert and trusted authority on succession planning. So how am I going to do that? How can I best do that, accomplish that goal? And it's exactly what I'm doing today, sharing everything that we've gained or learned over the last 20, 25 years in this business that could be a benefit to you. And to that extent, I'm going to ask our IDC team to make this entire presentation available for you or to you for your use and your benefit. If you have any questions at the end of all of this, we'll certainly get you information on how to get a hold of myself or my colleague, Stephen Beringer. So let's get started on a very short survey. How ready are you? So how many of you on the call today have a succession plan? Think about that. Not just a thought, but have a plan. I can't see how many put your hands up, of course, but how many of you that have said you had a plan have a formal documented succession plan beside your will? I think I know the answer to that question. As a matter of fact, I do. So the statistics I'm about to share with you should be of real interest to the younger advisors in the room. We have an aging population. And I think the last number I heard, I believe Don LIMRA told us in the presentation at the VP conference that their estimate on the average age of an advisor is somewhere between 58 and 59. I've heard numbers recently as high as, in Canada, 62 is the average age. So for the young advisors in the room, that's a tremendous opportunity moving forward for opportunities to acquire business and grow your business. And a real concern, perhaps, for those of you that haven't done anything. There's going to be, by virtue of the fact that there's this aging population, the average age is 60-something, plus there's going to be more and more and more competition for buyers down the road. More sellers and buyers are going to be able to become much more picky in particular. The timing is really important. Right now, there's approximately 40,000 actively licensed advisors in Canada. Only 16% of the 40,000 or 6,400 people, advisors, say they have a succession plan. And like I said earlier, that plan may consist of, well, I'm going to retire at 65. That's not really a plan. It's just an idea and a thought, not that concrete. So only 10% of the 6,400 that said they have a plan, or 640 have a formal documented plan along with their will or with their estate information or with their attorney. That's a small alarming number. So how ready are you? Have you thought about this? What have you done from your own business financial planning perspective to prepare yourself? There are two very, very critical components in the planning process. This readiness. Is my business, and this is a question all of you should be asking yourself, is my business ready for sale? And will I get maximum value? I'm not sure you know the answer to that question. I'm going to help you. And then, of course, there's a psychological preparedness, and that is, who am I when I'm no longer doing what I've been doing for the last several decades? That's something that a buyer A is considering seriously, and B, what a buyer should be very, very sensitive about when having a discussion with an older advisor, a mature advisor, who's planning on making a change in their life. This is a big one. This has been your baby from inception. You have your arms around it. You're very proud of it. You should be. There's something that you just can't give up easily, in my experience. Let's do a quick self-assessment. If you're considering retirement, how organized and prepared are you? Write down on a piece of paper, on a scale of 1 to 10, how prepared is your business for growth and expansion. These are elements that are going to be important that determines the ultimate value of your business one day when you retire, or forced to retire due to health, perhaps, hope not, and or pass away and your estate is dealing with your business. You want to create as much value as you possibly can. So what have you done to get there? So write an honest number down, 1 to 10. How prepared is your business for growth and expansion? There's a highlight of key considerations, and these are important and in fact somewhat in priority of importance from a buyer's perspective, looking at your business. And if they're not asking these questions, you might consider another purchaser. CRM and a data management system, planning software and systems. I'll get into each of these in a little bit more detail. Human resources, office space, short-term and long-term. Brand, that's you. Compliance and legal. Financial history, very important piece of the puzzle. You could probably moved up the priority list, but it's an important detail just the same. Makeup of your business, your future role and expectations. That's huge. It gets back to that psychological preparedness element. And then terms of an agreement, what does that look like? So the client relationship management software. This is the 21st century, and I know many of us are late adapters, but if we haven't adapted, we best get on the train and do what we have to do to be part of this 21st century electronic digital movement. Do you have a CRM tool? Is it up to date? Is someone monitoring and managing it? What do you use it for? Use it for client data, just client data, client notes? I hope so. It's a great compliance support mechanism. Life events, birthdays, anniversaries, things of that nature, sending out notes. Promotions, is there something that some of our great carrier partners have shared with us that would be valuable to share with our clients? Client portal. We moved into that next phase of technology where we're allowing our clients to get in and see their details of their portfolio. Your planning process. Review of your selling, you the selling advisor in providing direction and counsel to his or her client. What do you use for a software? Do you have a planning software? If so, what are you using? All this information needs to be available in a package. I'm suggesting to you that you build a folder answering these, I think there's 10 or 12 issues, questions, or ideas that should be addressed while you're preparing your business. And this is regardless if you're 5 years in the business, 55 years in business, or 105 years in business. These are important things it's never too late to do something to prepare your business for sale, to add additional value. That's the key. And any good buyer, anybody that has the capability and financial resources, is always willing to pay a little bit more for something that's terribly well organized. and a turnkey, if you will, solution. Do you manage that software, or does someone in your office do it for you? Human resource review. Do you have a team supporting you? How long have they been with you? What are their specific roles? What are their plans when you retire? Considerations. If you haven't thought about it, something you may want to start thinking about, because there will come a time when that decision will have to be made. So the better prepared you are in advance, the better off everyone's going to be. What finance commitments have you made to them? Or do you have contracts, employment contracts? Do you have things of that nature? How integral are they to the ongoing business or success of your business? In my personal experience, more often than not, the advisors, admin support, or their whoever's running their back office, that person's taking the phone calls, dealing more directly with the clients on a regular basis than you are. There's often a very, very good relationship developed over time, and they look forward to chatting with that person because they're not selling them anything. They're just making booking appointments. They're giving them updates on information and so on and so forth. So that person can in many cases be extremely important. So I wouldn't suggest taking that for granted. So space, equipment, lease, where is your office located and what image does it portray? We all have a different view of how important that is to us. And as a buyer, or any buyer, that's going to be, once again, quite relevant. Do you own or rent your space? Are you committed to a long-term lease? Are you looking to lease your property if you own the building and so on? Can a new owner take over the space to minimize disruption? Very important. Transition is always difficult. It takes time. The less disruption for your clients and yourself, the better for everyone. That's just the way it goes. You have other commitments, photocopiers, telephone systems, shredding. So once again, all important factors to consider when you're getting close to this all into a package. Do you work from home? That's the new norm these days. And your brand. This is often, I think, underestimated and somewhat taken for granted. How important is your brand to your clients? Are you the brand? Is it important for continuity? Your name has been on there. If you are, or your corporate name is on the statements for 20 years or 30 years, they know who you are. They don't know the new person taking over. How important is that name or the brand for continuity for a buyer? Do you want the brand to carry on when you're retired, or just let it go away? Once again, it's something to consider. What is your brand or legacy? How do you want this to look for you and your clients moving forward? You spent a career developing a relationship with your clients. They're the one that they put their faith and trust into with their money, their insurance, and all these other things that you've done for them. What's that legacy look like? So whoever the buyer is a serious consideration for a seller to ensure that they're putting it into the hands of someone that's going to be able to do the same job or as good a job or better job and represent your interest and support your legacy as you move on in retirement. You don't want your clients calling you after a sale just to complain about the new guy or gal. Your name, the brand. Important. So compliance and legal, this is, I suspect Mr. Watchdale's on the call today. So Eric, I want you to know, we're bringing this up. It's very important, of course. You have had any disciplinary actions against you? If you don't know, you can go to your regulator, your provincial regulator, and find out. It's a good idea. I recommend, whether you're in the securities business or just in the insurance, life and investment business, life and seg business, to go to your regulator. You can log on virtually very, very simply, Google your name and see if there's anything on record. There shouldn't be, but sometimes you might be surprised. Compliance and legal, have you ever had any formal complaints? That you'll know for sure when you log in and look at your profile in your various different jurisdictions by your insurance regulator. Have you had any legal complaints, any legal claims rather? Is anything, any suits, anything ever happened? If you have, important to disclose that as you prepare to sell your business, because any good buyer will do extensive due diligence to make sure that there aren't any proverbial skeletons in the closet. Financial history. This is an important, probably one of the more important pieces of the puzzle. What's been the trend in your business, particularly in the last 3 years? Is your revenue up? Is your revenue down? Is it consistent? Is it flat? And as we grow older, we typically, the pattern typically is it's certainly flat. Revenue seems to be flat and starts to decline in the latter years because you're not working as much. And you know, good for you. You've earned that. You've earned that right to take more holidays and have your clients looked after. You're not doing more business typically. You have the following. You have audited financial statements for the previous 3 years. Business tax returns for the previous 3 years. Year-end commission statements from your carriers for the past 3 years. As Win Succession, as a buyer or acquirer of a book of business, the more of this information you have readily available, the quicker the transaction transition can happen. And and B, it's of more value because for any buyer that has to go back now, spend more time reminding you to get this and to get that, for you to look for this and to look for that, it just takes time, and it just gets frustrating as heck for everyone concerned in a typical deal. This is kind of important. What's the makeup of your business? What's that look like? Average age. This is a big deal. As we grow older, if you're in your 70s, late 60s, 70s, even 80s, many, God bless you all, your clients typically are of that same age or similar age group. So as you grow older, your clients are growing older, largely speaking, and as such, the value is starting to decline in your business. You may not want to admit that, but that's a fact. It will start to decline unless, of course, you started doing some second generation, third generation work with children and grandchildren and things of that nature. Very, very important. Very, very important. What's the average age of your clients? Average policy and or assets under management by policy, by person. The product mix. What's the mixture or the product look like? What have you got? Mostly lots of term insurance? Is it a mix of whole life insurance? Things of that nature. Is there CI? Is there a big sort of a mix of all in one bucket? Carriers. What carriers do you use? Who have you used? If you have carriers and contract and codes and contract number or carriers and codes listed on a separate document, hugely beneficial for after the transaction to do the transition and transfer. Very, very important. Fee structure. You fee for service business? Are you traditional in your investments? How you charge? Are you just a commission-based person? All those sorts of things. Important for any buyer to understand and the point being, the better you can describe that to someone, once again, the easier it becomes to proceed and do a deal. Are your clients spread out across the country? Are they mostly in your local region, or do you have clients? And in many cases, someone may have a client that's moved from Alberta or BC to Ontario to Northwest Territories, things of that nature. So there's a consideration. Does an acquirer, buyer need to be licensed in those jurisdictions to be able to deal with your clients? Client concentration, and that simply means, is 80% of your revenue with 20% of your clients, or you have most of it in universal life product and not term, and so on and so forth. That's kind of important. Once again, good due diligence will answer most of those questions. What are your plans when you transition into retirement? What role do you see yourself playing? And once again, there are no two situations that are exactly the same. Everyone has a slightly different view or an idea what they want to do. Some want to stay very actively involved in business. How long do you want to continue working? Many people will say, well, I don't want to just give this up. I want to keep going. I really enjoy what I'm doing. And back to that first slide, the mental preparedness. How are you feeling about this? This is a big change in your life. So maybe we encourage an advisor to let us know what they want to do. Let's try and work out a plan that's going to satisfy your needs moving forward as well as ours. Because I like to look at a transition or an acquisition essentially as a partnership. For the period of that transition, we're going to work together, and whoever the servicing advisor is that's working with you, you need to have, it's really important to have a good relationship and confidence in that team to move things forward. How much do you want to continue working? That's a big question. People leave the day after the deal's done, and some people want to continue and stay and won't get out of the way. God bless you all for that, by the way. What will you do when you no longer have a job to go to? Are you going to be okay with that? In terms of a sales agreement, this is important. Do you have realistic price expectations? I'll often hear people say, well, I've heard it's worth 3 times. It's worth 4 times. It's worth 2.5 times. Well, that's important, but it's more about having done any buyer, we would do a very thorough formal valuation to make sure, A, that it's fair market. We understand the market, like any other business, our businesses have a market value, just by virtue of what's selling and what's selling for what, and so on and so forth. So what are your expectations? So speak with experts, get some advice so that you're in the game, so to speak. Over what period of time do you expect to be paid? Willing to help finance a deal. Younger advisors that don't have the capital or access to capital may require that, something to consider. Additional considerations if you're selling a corporation, I'll do this very quickly. Financial statements, tax returns, list of assessment, list of assets, corporately owned life insurance. That might be something a buyer wants to take on. List of authorized and issued shares. Contract for corporate records, your lawyer, or sorry, contact for your corporate record, your lawyer trustee. Breakdown of share ownership. Last annual corporation's branch returns. A copy of your corporate E&O. Any lease, phone systems, and so on. So, quickly, self-assessment. How prepared are you? Get that number you wrote down on a piece of paper earlier. Score yourself on a score of 1 to 10, scale of 1 to 10. If you scored 1 to 3, you are far behind and best get started sooner than later. And we can help you. Don't hesitate to reach out. Thought about it, 4 to 6 rather, you thought about it, you still have more work to do. You probably penciled a few things into your calendar to think about. If you're 7 to 10, you're far ahead of the average, and you're and are serious about your business's future and your business value, future value of the business. So I'm going to get close to concluding on a takeaway today, and that's the letter of understanding. For those of you, which we know statistically are the majority, that don't have a documented succession plan, the IDC Win Succession letter of understanding is the very best thing you can do. It's free. There's no hidden secrets or agenda. It's a free insurance product for you in the event of your untimely passing, that your estate can realize some value, a fair value for the business if they're gone. Once they're gone, once you're gone, it's too late, as we all know. We are, after all, in the insurance business. On that note, I think there's 4 or 5 minutes left for some questions, so I will end on that note. And thank you all very much for your time and attention.
So the one question, a burning question in everybody's mind, I know the right answer is Equisoft, but Michael, which CRM is a top of the line option?
Well, I would say Equisoft is a very good product, Don. I think what you want to be aware of is what is everybody else using? What is your MGA recommending? What are we at IDC recommending and using, so we have continuity when we're looking for information? We can support you as IDC in our IDC family if we're using and sharing the same platform. That's important.
So whom do I contact at IDC Markham to make sure that my letter of understanding is signed?
Your business development executive in your region, or send it to www.winsuccessioninc.com. winsuccessioninc.com. And there will be a password requested or required to move on. It's pretty straightforward. It'll walk you just like an online app. It works pretty well. It'll lead you to the next question. And the password is succession with a capital S.
Okay, good. And we'll have that email address on the video when we produce the video, so you'll see that as well.
Thank you, Doug.
Besides LinkedIn and Google searches to find businesses to buy, is there a marketplace for taking over someone else's financial planning business?
Well, I'm a little bit old school in that front. In fact, a lot old school. But the best place for the younger people to get to know where things are, get involved in your local, in the various different associations and events. Show up at the IDC events, the various in-person events. Show up at advocacy meetings. Show up at IFB meetings, whatever your member are, because most of those people there are going to be older than you.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
On average.
And most of them are there to get CE credit. So go and introduce yourself, make some friends, rub elbows. We're in the sales business. That's what we do. That's what we've become successful doing for the most part.
And someone else is asking, how can we get the letter? We can obviously get the letter from you if we email you directly. Michael, what is your email address?
It's mgau@winsuccessioninc.com. mgau@winsuccessioninc.com. Don't forget the INC. That's important.
And you have no issue with us circulating a copy of the slides to our attendees?
No, as I said, Don, I encourage all of you to use this as a basic template for your own financial planning for your business. All of you will have your own financial plan, I hope, but this is for your business, specifically for your business. Build a plan for it. These are tools that are so important. And use these 10 or 12 items as touch points, review that once a year, make sure you're up to date. Just make sure you're up to date. That's my advice, recommendation to all.
And I mean, I can talk from a personal viewpoint as well. I mean, I've obviously signed my LOU with you folks as well, but we're recently going through, as you know, Michael, we won't share any names here, but we've got a catastrophic situation on the horizon where an advisor is not in very good shape, but has just recently in the last few days signed the LOU. Hopefully you folks don't wait till that moment in time, because you know, it's an option that it's a non-binding LOU, so you can, if you find a better deal in your mind, or if you find someone else who's going to purchase your block of business. Everybody wants to purchase the block of business, Michael, until the checks need to be cut.
Exactly.
And we've gone through that with another large purchase a couple of years ago that now has bared a lot of fruit for the people that purchased it. So there's a lot of good stories around what Michael's talking about today. And you want to be on the front end of that, not on the back end of it. You don't want your estate trying to make a sale, because that doesn't go well for anybody. Have the conversation now. And if something else changes, or, you know, if you get diagnosed with something, your focus is going to be on the something, not on your business. So you want to have that letter of understanding in preparation for that situation, had it ever arose. And we've got lots of situations where it has come up. So, and Michael, somebody else is asking for that email address again. So let's give that, and then we'll scoot.
mgau@winsuccessioninc.com, inc.com. mgau@winsuccessioninc.com.
And as I said at the
take your
beginning,
emails and answer your questions.
Yeah, and as I said at the beginning, we did record 2 podcasts on the VP conferences that we will be producing that video, so you can see the Q&A live as a podcast, as well as this presentation will be available to you as a video in a few weeks on Win Big, and we'll access the slides for you as well. So thanks a lot, Michael. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you, Don. Have a great day, everyone.